Okay, so we're gonna finish talking about law signs. Yesterday, I gave you the ambiguous case, the rules, right? You agree? Yes? And I asked you, this right here, and I asked you to write that down and to put it on your note card. Okay, so if you didn't get it on your note card, then you do need to do that before long, so that, you know, you can get accustomed to using your note card. All right? So mine's not on my note card yet either, because I was trying to take care of the other stuff yesterday. All right. So before we deal with that, I want to work one problem that I skipped yesterday, and it's a word problem. A lot of the law signs and law cosine stuff is applicable to real life, so it has life application problems. So this is example 2. All right. It's just a word problem, so we'll write it down. It says a pole tilts toward the sun at an 8-degree angle, from the vertical.
So is that saying 92 degrees?
Okay, no, like this is vertical, do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
So my sun's gonna be over here, so it's tilting 8 degrees off of that vertical.
So the inside,
Not a lot.
So the inside will be 90. No, 82.
80.
No, if your ground is down here, okay?
It'll
we're
be
gonna
8
draw a
degrees from the
picture.
height.
We'll draw a picture, okay? We'll draw a picture. So, and it casts a 22-foot shadow. Now let's make sure that we all understand where are shadows on the ground, okay? So it is very common for kids to say that or put shadows on the side of the triangle that's in the air, but that's not. That, you know, if that's the shadow you're seeing, run fast, children. All right, that's a ghost.
Because if it's tilted towards the shadow, so that towards the sun, the shadow's going to be on this side.
Exactly right.
So it's going to be an obtuse.
There you go. Okay, so the angle, let's go. The angle of elevation from the tip of the shadow to the top of the pole is 43 degrees. Now, angles of elevation, are they scary?
Yes. No.
No. Which ones are the ones that kids mess up on? Angles of depression. Okay? Angles of elevation are from the bottom up. So normally, even if you don't draw that ground, your eye will see it, so you'll be okay. But remember, angles of elevation and angles of depression are always formed with a horizontal. So that's why the angles of depression are hard. They're at the top, and you have to draw horizontal. How tall is the pole? So just like all the questions, the word problems that we've done this year, drawing the picture is going to be the most difficult part of this, okay? I am going to exaggerate my picture just a little bit so it'll be easier for me to put my information in it, okay? So when it says I've got a pole and it's tilting at an 8-degree angle from the vertical, okay, and it's tilting towards the sun, I'm going to put my sun over here. Okay, and I got a pole down here and it's tilting towards the sun. So I'm going to make mine tilt, it's going to be a little bit more than 8 degrees, just so it'll be easier to write my stuff in there. Okay, so here is your vertical. All right, so does everybody see where the 8 degrees is? Okay, so this is my 8 degrees right here.
Can we make ours a little bit bigger so?
Sure.
Oh gosh.
Sure. Okay, now it said it casts a shadow of 22 feet. People, if y'all don't know about shadows, if the sun's over here, where's the shadow going to be?
On the
Over
right
here.
side.
Yeah, see, it's throwing it across that pole this way, so this is going to be my shadow right here, and he is 22 feet. And then it said the angle of elevation from the tip of the shadow to the top of the pole is 43 degrees. How tall is the pole? Okay? Now, although you're kind of looking at the right triangle, that's not really what we're talking about, is it? Does everybody see the triangle that we're talking about? It's the triangle made by the pole and the shadow, and then this line that makes the other part of the angle of elevation. Okay? And it is an oblique triangle. It's not right. Colton.
So, would your picture, like, since we don't know that the shadow is longer than the pole, how would we draw that? Because I know that you know that it's longer, that's why you drew the base longer.
No, I didn't, I mean, when I drew my picture, I didn't know because I didn't know the answer. Okay?
Oh, like just now?
Well, I mean, this morning, it's just a picture, it's just a representation. It's probably not going to, there's gonna be another triangle that I'm gonna draw, and when I draw it, I'm gonna say, well, obviously, that's not drawn to scale, okay? A picture is just a representation of what's going on, okay? I mean, to me, these two things look like they're not far off from each other. And actually, my picture is not going to be a very good representation of that, okay? So, but it's not gonna affect my answer, so I'm fine with that. I don't really care. Okay, so what about this angle right here? Can somebody tell me what the measure of this angle right here is? 98. It's the 90 plus the 8-degree tilt. So this is 98 degrees. Okay? Now, what do you have to use the law of sines?
One side and two other things.
Yeah, one side and his angle. You have to have a pair. That's what I call it, okay? You have to have a pair, an angle and his side. Do you have a pair?
Yes.
Yeah. Not yet.
Not yet. You do not. You know this angle, but you do not know this side. You know this angle, but you do not know this side. I know this side, but I don't know this angle. But what can I find?
The other angle.
Yeah, I can find this angle right here, okay? I'm gonna call it B. All right?
You don't know that angle?
So,
Why
well,
would you
I
not-
don't yet, but I can find it really easy.
Wait, but how would you not know that angle?
Is it not 8?
It's not.
Isn't
The 8 is this little piece right here, guys. It's how far it tilts off the vertical. You see what I'm saying? See what it says? A pole tilts toward the sun at an 8-degree angle from the vertical. So here's my vertical. He tilts 8 degrees off of that vertical.
So why'd you draw it at the top? Is that good?
Well, actually, I just didn't draw my pole long enough. Okay. So
Should be
you don't need to
36
take-
to
I'll
90
take
then.
it off.
No, it's
45, 45, 90.
Thank you, Sean. You're picking on me. Okay, this is the 8 degrees right here. That's 8, but my picture's not big enough for me to write that 8 in there. Okay, so this is the angle that I'm trying to find. All right, so I know 2 angles of a triangle. People, you can find the other angle. All right, it's 180 minus 98 minus 43. So you'll find angle B to be 39 degrees. So this angle is 39 degrees. Now do I have a pair? Yes. So now you have a pair. You have an angle and his side. Okay? I don't care how you set it up. I always do the side is to the angle that I know. And then I'll do what I'm looking for, which is what this guy is right here. So somebody set me up a proportion.
22.
22 is to
Sine of
the sine of 39. The side is to the sine of his angle as
30. X over
x is to,
sine of 43.
perfect, the sine of 43. So 22 is to the sine of his angle as x is to the sine of his angle. Okay? So x is going to be equal to, remember how we said we were going to do it? When you're going to cross multiply to solve it, okay? So the 2 that you know go on top, 22 times the sine of 43 over this odd guy out, the one that when you cross multiply, it goes with the variable, that's who you're gonna have to divide by. So we're gonna divide by the sign of 39. Is everybody okay? All right, so speak up if I lose you today, okay?
Wait, what
So-
happens to the X?
It's right here.
X is the,
Huh?
So wait, why would you put it over instead of like?
Because if you multiply these two, it equals to what you get when you multiply these two. And then to solve for x, you have to divide by this guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
you just
so
skip
I
this
just do
step.
it all in one step. Okay, got me a little handy dandy light here, and I think you can see my calculator. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna say 22 times the sine of 43. Make sure you close those parentheses there. If you don't, it'll keep taking the sign all throughout the problem and it'll be wrong. Divided by the sine of 39. Here, he doesn't care if you close his parentheses or not because he's a guy and he's not proper. Okay? So you can close them if you're proper or not. Yeah, well, that's the way y'all are. I can't help it. I wouldn't have made you that way, but I'm not. So, my answer is 23.84, and whatever this is, that's determine your unit of measure, and that's in feet, so this is feet. So you can see that my picture is my picture drawn to scale? No, it looks like my pole is shorter than the shadow, but I didn't know that. See what I'm saying? Does it affect my answer? No, it's perfectly fine. Is that a reasonable answer? Yes, it is. Okay, Colton.
No.
All right, anybody got a question?
That's the only one we had to find.
Do what?
That's the only one we had to find because
Yeah.
they only asked for the.
Yep, that's all they asked for, the length of the pole. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna teach you, I'm gonna give you a worksheet today, okay? And, I'm gonna hopefully give you some time to work on it, all right? But we're gonna practice some more of the some of the problems like on the worksheet, and then I'm gonna do 2 more problems kind of like this one, okay? So let's go back and let's practice on the ambiguous case, okay? So the first thing, and look, this was kind of before we talked about the ambiguous case. I kind of skipped it yesterday because I wanted to make sure we got through with all that big stuff that we did. So I had to skip this problem. So every time from now on when I work a problem, the very first thing I'm gonna ask myself is if it's ambiguous, okay? So the first question I'm gonna ask you is, how do I know if a triangle is ambiguous? Now look, I'm not drawing a triangle, people. I'm giving you measurements of 3 things. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay? So if I give you measurements of 3 things, because that's what we said yesterday that you had to know, then how am I going to know if it's an ambiguous case?
0, 1, 2.
No.
A pair and a side.
That's exactly right.
Wait, what'd you say?
Okay, that is exactly right. If you have a pair, now what do I mean when I say a pair?
2.
Angles.
An angle and his side. That means the side opposite him. Like angle A inside A, angle B inside B, angle C inside C, angle Q inside Q. Okay, that's a pair, all right? So if you have a pair and another side, if you have a pair and another side, then that is going to be your ambiguous case. Okay, that is that angle, side, side. All right, that's what we got to be careful about. We don't want to be looking like one of these. Okay, so be very careful. The ambiguous case is the most difficult. All the other stuff is easy. You just like slap it out. It's really good. Okay, so can you decide if it's ambiguous or not? Yeah, you can. You look at what I gave you and you say, do I have a pair and another side? Okay, what if it's, and then we're going to follow the rules on the chart. What if it is not ambiguous? Okay, what if it is not ambiguous? If it's not ambiguous, how many triangles does it make?
1.
1. it makes one triangle, okay? And that's only if it follows all the rules. Okay? Only if it follows all the rules. Let me shut this door. So what are the rules? Well, let's think about the rules that you know you learned in geometry for a triangle. Okay? So what are the rules? Number one, the sum of the angles of a triangle equal what?
180.
Very good. You should already know these rules, okay? You should already know these rules. Now, the second rule kids have a little bit of trouble with, okay? So, pay attention. Here's what it says. Any one side must be, okay? Any one side must be greater than, yep, greater than the difference, and what? Less than the sum. Very good. Okay, greater than the difference. That means when this is going to come into play, this is when I give you all three sides of a triangle. Obviously, that side, that is not ambiguous. Okay, so what you're going to have to do is go through and make sure that every side is greater than the difference between the other two sides and less than the sum between the other two sides. Okay, so right now we're going to play a game. We're going to work 10 problems, and all I want to know is how many triangles.
Oh gosh, I already forgot how to do
Okay, how many triangles? It's okay, because we're going to that's what we're doing, is we're practicing it. Okay, and while we practice it, there's going to be some little quirky stuff that's going to happen. All right, so you need to make sure that you're paying attention and you know what we're talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say something, please ask so maybe I can say it another way, and it will help not just you but other people. Because you know, if you're thinking, what the heck is going on? There are at least 5 other people in the class thinking the same thing. All right, so I will be using this right here. Okay, I will be using that. So here we go. Number 1, I'm gonna draw a blank. That's where I'm gonna put my answer, and then I'm gonna do 1. I'm gonna tell you that big A is 42. What does that mean? That is.
Triangle.
That's an angle. That's angle A, and I don't have to put angle A. I just said big A. Big A is 42. Little A is 22, and little b is 12. So my first question is it ambiguous?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if it is ambiguous, you need to know, do I need to find the height? Why?
Is A equal height? I don't know.
Nope. H is the height.
Because it's longer than it.
Yeah, because this, y'all look, this side that's part of the pair, if he's bigger than this other side, that's this right here. A is bigger than B. How many triangles can I make?
1.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Are we
So
gonna,
if this side that's part of the pair is bigger than this other side, I can make 1 triangle. All right, here we go, we're moving on. Number 2, big C is 31, little a is 12, and little c is 10. All right, here's my question. Is it ambiguous?
oh wait, yes.
Yes. How do you know it's ambiguous?
It's got
Angle
a
and
side and
side.
an angle.
Okay.
And
It's got a pair and another side. Now y'all listen to me. If this had been side B, would that have been ambiguous?
Mm-mm.
No. So you can't look and say I have 1 angle and 2 sides. Okay? You got to have a pair. That means an angle in his side and then another side. Okay? Colton, do you have a question?
Oh no, I'm just holding up the computer.
Okay. So here's what. Now look. This is the side that I'm talking about. On my formula card, what do they call this side?
A.
A. I don't have to call it A. I can call it anything I want to, okay? But you need to be able to relate that this is the A on my formula card, and this is the B. Now, some kids get all mixed up with that kind of stuff. So I don't really use A's and B's when I'm talking about it. I talk about the side that's part of the pair, and then the other side, the loaner side.
It'll always be
Okay.
A and B. Like, the pair is A.
No, on our formula card it is because that's what they told us.
That's what I mean.
Yes, on our formula card, yes, because they made the pair A and the other side B. Okay, so the formula card's based on that. But now we have C and A. Okay, so is C bigger than this other side? Okay, so I need to compare it to the height. If C is not bigger than the other side, then you have to find the height. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so here's going to be what we're going to do. First, let's find the height. The height is equal to, it's equal to the odd guy out, this odd side, 12, times the sine of the only angle, 31. Okay, I'm just going to pop it in my calculator really.
get that?
It's this formula right here. H is equal to B sine A. Okay? So, I'm going to pop it in my calculator really quick. Okay? I'm going to say 12 times the sine of 31. 6.1 or 6.2, whatever you want to call it. Okay? So, look at this. Now I'm comparing, y'all, you're always comparing the side that goes with the angle, the part of the pair. Okay? So, is this side bigger than my height?
Yes.
So, how many triangles does that make?
2.
If this side is bigger than the height, that makes one triangle. But if this side is in between, that's this guy right here. If that side is in between the height and the other side, that's when it makes two triangles. Okay? So y'all look, you're just going to have to practice on some of them. Okay? I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to do 10 with you. Hopefully by the time we get to 10, you'll be like, oh, okay, I think I'm getting it. But then I'm going to give you 28 more, so you ought to get it by the end of that. Okay? I think you'll be okay.
I still don't understand
Okay,
how the
so-
H and the
okay.
and the D go together. Like,
How the H and the what?
what you just said, like with.
I said, is this side bigger than the height?
Yes.
Think about yesterday when we measured that. I said, what if you made this side shorter than the height? How many triangles could you make?
No.
0. If that side is shorter than the height, you couldn't make a triangle. It wouldn't reach down there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? If it were equal to the height, we made one triangle. He was right on top of the height. Okay? And then, if that side is between the height and the other side, that's the only time we can make two triangles. So what I want to do, here's what I'm going to do every time, guys. I'm going to say it this way one time, and that's all. It's the only time. The rest of it you have to figure out by yourself. If this side is bigger than this other side, the side that goes with the pair is bigger than the other side, that's one triangle. I can move on. If this side is not bigger than this other side, I have to find the height. Now I'm comparing that side to the height. If he's bigger than the height, I know I have at least one. If he's smaller than the height, you don't have any. But if he's bigger than the height, I know I have at least one. If this side is between these two numbers, that's when you have two. Okay, so how many triangles do I have?
2.
Very good. Now let's see, let's keep on going. Okay, here's the next one. Number 3. A is equal to 75. Big A, pardon me. Big B is equal to 120. And little c is equal to 13. Is it ambiguous? No. How many triangles can you make? Why?
Because you.
Doesn't follow all the rules.
Yeah, y'all, he already busted. I mean, I only gave you 2 angles, and he's at 195. I'm pretty sure that's more than 180. Okay, so he already busted right here. So, how many triangles do I make?
0.
0. Okay? All right, here's my next one. Big A is equal to 62. Little a is equal to 10. And little b is equal to 12.
It's not 1.
Okay, is it ambiguous?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so here's the next thing I do. If it's ambiguous, I say, is the side that is, part of the pair, is he bigger than the other side?
No.
No, this is the side that's part of the pair. He is not bigger than the other side. What is the only thing that that tells me?
You
Gotta find the height.
You have to find the height. That's exactly what that says. So H is equal to odd guy out, that's the 12, times the sine of the only angle that's on there, 62. Okay, so just take my word for it. If you put it in your calculator, it would be 10.6.
Oh, that's bigger.
Okay, 10.6. So now, you're always comparing this guy. This guy is smaller than my height. So how many triangles?
0.
Very good. Okay? All right, let's do another one. Just like the other one. Big A is 98. Little a is 10. And little b is 3. Okay, now this one is an obtuse, this is ambiguous, do you agree?
Yes.
But this is an obtuse one. Obtuses are easy. If he's bigger than or equal to the side, he will not make it. Pardon me, if he's smaller than or equal to the side, he will not make it. If he's bigger than, he makes 1.
Wait,
So really, all I'm looking for is you have to be bigger than the other side to make 1.
And that's if it's bigger than.
That's if it's an obtuse angle, more than 90.
so
So, here's the side I'm comparing.
your pair is bigger than your odd man out.
Yeah,
So therefore
is
it's
this side bigger than the other odd guy out?
Yeah.
Yes.
So how many triangles?
1.
Very good.
That's the same even if it's.
Wait,
not
how do we know
obtuse.
Yes, you're right, it is.
I only know it's obtuse because the A is
Because 98's bigger
Bigger
than 90,
yeah.
okay? Cube's smaller than 90. All right, here we go, number 6. Number 6, angle B is 54, side B is 7, and side C is 10. Is it ambiguous?
Yes.
Do you have to find the height?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's smaller than the
Yeah,
odd man.
7 is smaller than 10, so you have to find the height. I can't cut, if he's bigger than this side over here, then it's 1, but he's not, he's smaller than it. So now I gotta go, okay, so what about the height? Well, the height is equal to the odd guy out, 10 times the sine of 54, and he ends up being 8.1, okay? So, how many triangles?
0.
Very good. 7 is not bigger than 8.1, so I cannot make a triangle.
I thought it was.
So you
7,
compare
8,
it to
9.
that one? You
I
it to only
compare
the
it-
pair?
Yes, you always, this is the guy you're always comparing to everything. It's a part of the pair, okay? Here's the next one. Big C is 35, little b is 46, and little a is 27.
I don't know.
It's not ambiguous.
We have to look at the.
Is it ambiguous?
No,
No. Does he break any rules?
not that I can
Not
tell.
that we can tell, so 1 triangle. Okay?
That can only make one, right?
That's right. It can only, if it's not, remember, ambiguous is the only one that has multiple answers. Everybody else has 1, or it has none because you busted.
Oh, okay, I got you. I was
Okay.
like,
Here's the next one. Little a is equal to 12, little b is equal to 10, and little c is equal to 15. Okay?
Ambiguous.
So, is it ambiguous?
No.
No. And we don't know anything about the angles, so that means we have to do this with the sides, okay? Now listen to me, sometimes kids have trouble keeping this straight, so you can think of it several different ways. I'll tell you one way. The G and the D are on the lower part of the alphabet. They're both lower, so greater than the difference, and less than the sum, that's the upper part of the alphabet. So if you're trying to think greater than who goes with the greater than, it's the smaller alphabet letter, the difference, D. Okay? So that means that every side has to be greater than the difference between the other two sides. So 12, is 12 bigger than
5.
5?
Yeah.
Okay, is 10 bigger than
3.
3? Yes. Is 15 bigger than, your
2.
difference here is 2? Yes. Now you have to check the other one. You can't just check one, you gotta check everything. Less than the sum.
Yes.
Is 12 less than 25? Is 10 less than 27? Is 15 less than 22? So, how many triangles?
1.
Very good. We like it when it's not ambiguous because it's very straightforward, okay? So, number 9. Number 9, big C is equal to 31, little b is equal to 46, and little c is equal to 29. Don't say the answer out loud. Give everybody a chance to get it right.
Are you
Or
going to
wrong.
work it?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you do it. Okay, everybody get it?
I think so.
Is it ambiguous?
Yes.
Yes, you got a pair and another side. Do I need to find the height?
Yes.
Yes. This side of the pair is not bigger than this guy. You have to find the height. Height is equal to odd guy out times the sine of the only angle. So he ends up being 23.7.
Whoa.
Okay?
I got 25.2.
Got 22.3.
I got 23.7.
It's 23.7. Y'all are
Oh,
all.
I put 49 instead of 46. That's not
Oh,
fault.
okay.
I
All
put,
right.
I put 46
So
and
here we go.
29.
Well, type it in there again. Okay, so
Here.
look, everybody look.
Degrees is right there.
Here's the side I'm comparing. Is he bigger than the height?
Yes.
So I know that I have at least one. Is he between the height and the other side?
Yes.
That makes him
2.
2.
Is who between the height and the other side?
Huh?
The pair.
The side that goes with the pair
The pair.
Is between what?
is between the other side and the height. Okay, look, Madeline, this is what I do every time. If I have to find the height, which you know when to find the height,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so once I find the height, I say, I'm comparing this guy. So are you bigger than the height? Yes. So I know I have one.
Mhm.
Are you between these two guys right here? Yes. That makes 2.
You see if the
If
pair-
this side right here is between these two right here, that's this thing right
But
here.
it's higher.
See? Yeah, it's higher than the height, but it's lower than 46. 29 is in
So
between
what number
46
is
and 23.
The number that needs to go in the middle is the one with the pair. So you got big C and little c, so that number needs to be in between the height
Okay, here's another way to do it.
and the other one.
Why do you keep pointing at B then?
Because,
That's one of your sides.
because you gotta, that's one of your sides, you gotta compare. Okay, so you found the height, right?
Yes.
Is this number bigger than the height?
Yes.
So I have 1.
Yes, I got that.
Okay, is this number less than the other side?
Yes.
That makes 2.
Okay.
Okay?
So
I just had to say it a different way.
Yeah.
That's okay.
less than.
No, it's not. It's just the pair.
If he's less than the other side and greater than the height, that's this guy right here, see? Greater than the height and less than the other side, that's my 2 triangles. All right, last one, then we're moving on. A is equal to 40, big A. Little b is equal to 20. And big C is equal to 32. Is it ambiguous? How many triangles does it make?
1.
1. He didn't break any rules, y'all. The only thing you got is 2 angles, and they make 72. That doesn't bust 180. 1 triangle.
Wait. So how do we know it doesn't break the other rule?
Did these 2 angles bust 180? Okay.
So, but does it have
You
to
have
has
get
both?
3 sides.
You have to have one side, so you're never gonna have all the angles. If two of them bust 180, you know you're out. Okay, so here we go.
Is that our worksheet, that what you did?
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Okay, now, every time we have a problem, you need to go, is this ambiguous? And how many triangles can I make? Okay, so I'm gonna do 2 with you, and then we're gonna do our worksheet. A is equal to 22, little a is 22. Little b is 12. And big A is 42 degrees. Okay? You can't have that light when I don't have a calculator up here, it's nauseous. Alright, so is it ambiguous?
Yes.
Do I need to find the height?
No.
How many triangles does it make?
1.
Okay, so this is what I'm doing first. Okay? The very first thing I'm doing is it ambiguous? Okay? And how many triangles? So tomorrow, we're gonna do one that makes 2 triangles, but we're not today. So this makes 1 triangle, so that's pretty easy, that's not a big deal, that's just like what we've been doing, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw it. It's always easier to look at a picture. So I'm gonna make a 42-degree angle. And that's angle A.
It can be any one of them though, right?
It told me it was A.
I know, well, it can be any.
Yeah, it
spot.
could be
Said
any
C,
spot.
just right.
Yeah, it could be any spot. Okay? And I know that this side right here is 12. And that's B, so that means that this has to be angle B. This is C. Side A is 22. And obviously this is side C.
Wait, I forgot, is it, so,
So what's
So, it has to
missing?
be angle, side,
Angle, side. Angle C is missing, and little c, side C is missing. Okay? Now, what do you have to use the law of sines?
a pair, and
A pair.
side.
Do you have to, no, you don't have to have another side, you just have to have a pair.
Oh.
Okay? Do I have a pair?
Yeah.
Here's my pair right here, okay? Now, what do I have to find first?
B,
Yeah,
Big
angle
B.
B. Y'all, you don't know anything about C, so obviously I can't find anything. I have to find this angle first. So my proportion is say this side is to the sine of this angle, as this side is to the sine of this angle.
so
All
is
right?
it 22,
22.
side, 42,
Is to the sine of 42,
and then 12 over X?
as
Or-
12 is to the sine of B. Do not write X there. Okay? Alright, so here's why you didn't write X there. I'm looking for an angle. What kind of function will I use on my calculator?
Inverse.
Inverse. Okay? Gonna be using an inverse function if you're looking for an angle. So we're gonna say inverse sine of. Same rules apply, guys. The 2 that you know go on top, the odd guy out goes on the bottom. So on the top, it's going to be 12 times the sine of 42. I'm just cross multiplying. Alright, and then when I have to divide by that 22. I'm gonna put it in my calculator, so I'll get my little light back so you can see it. So in my calculator, I'm going to say second and sine. I'm gonna use the fraction button. On the top of my fraction, I have 12 times the sine of 42. Still have to close that parentheses. Alpha and F1 up here is the fraction button. Okay? On the bottom, I have 22. If you want to be proper, go out there and close your parentheses. 21.4 is my angle. Is that reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay, so angle B is equal to 21.4 degrees. So I'll go over here and write it. Now, can I find angle C?
Yeah.
How am I gonna find angle C?
Add it to 42, and then 180 minus that.
Okay, so 180 minus 42 minus 21.4. So 180 minus 42 minus, I'm gonna go grab that number, so I'll just type it.
116.
116.6. Okay? Now let me make sure you understand something, okay? Because if I miss this angle B, am I going to miss C? And if I miss angle C, will I miss side C? You better be careful, okay? You better be careful. All right, so I'm still gonna use the same part of my ratio, all right, or this is the ratio, same part of my proportion. So I'm gonna say 22 is to the sine of 42 as C, because that's all I lack, is to the sine of C, 116.6. Am I using an inverse sign here? No, people, I'm not looking for an angle, okay? So, C is equal to, the two that I do know go on the top. The one that I don't, or the odd man out, goes on the bottom,
Oh, that ain't right.
okay? So, in my calculator, I'm gonna go 22 sine 116.6, close the parentheses, divided by the sine of 42. And I get C is equal to 29.40. And they didn't tell me a unit of measure. All right, anybody got a question?
So you know how, we can't use, can we use B, like angle B and sine?
Can we use angle B for what?
Like on the
Side
second
B,
one?
so yeah, so find instead of A.
What?
I couldn't see that.
Oh, no, it's my bottom. Can we use angle B? I'm sorry.
Yeah, angle B and side B to look for. Instead of A.
Oh, yeah, you can, but I'm not. I'm gonna use the one they gave me.
Okay.
Okay? All right, one more quick problem. So example 4, little a is 15, little b is 25, and big A is 85. Tell me what you're doing right now.
Find the height,
Why?
because it has 0 sides.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're sure. Okay.
But then there's nothing else to do, is there? That's crazy, because I was about to draw it.
Okay, so here's what Colton's saying, all right? He said, hey man, this thing's ambiguous, okay? So I need to find out how many triangles it makes. This side that's part of the pair is not bigger than this other side, so I have to find the height. The height is equal to the odd guy out times the sine of the only angle. So my height is equal to what, 24.9?
Yep.
All right, so is this side bigger than 24.9?
Nope.
How many triangles, people?
0.
0 triangles. 0 triangles. There are no answers to this. This is the answer to it. Not possible. Can't do it. Doesn't make a triangle. Okay? Now watch this. I want to show you something. Let's pretend that you didn't do that. You were stressed on your test and you were just trying to work all the problems. So I'm going to really quickly draw a picture. This is 85. This is 15. And this is 25. I have to find angle B. Do you agree? Watch. 15 is to the sine of 85 as 25 is to the sine of B. Watch what happens when I try to find B. I have to go inverse sine. I'm going to use a fraction. These two go on the top. 25 times the sine of 85. And on the bottom is a 15. Is my calculator saying, hey man, it doesn't make a triangle?
No,
lady?
that's when you typed it again, and then
Yeah,
if it
I
says
know, what's
domain,
wrong?
if
What's
it
wrong?
says domain again, then you go ask the teacher, say something's wrong with my calculator.
Okay, I'm gonna pass your worksheets out.